Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about my analog basket, the kinds of things that I put in there, how I categorize it, and how I am setting this as a habit or a practice to try to fill up on truth, beauty, and goodness before I reach for my phone. So I hope you'll come along with me. Just out for a walk with my dog and stopped at our little library and found some good finds. So this summer I was at a Charlotte Mason retreat, and one of the workshop presenters was talking about technology and the habit of attention in mothers. And one of the things, like the gist of what she shared that really I've been thinking about all summer is when she was talking about the fact that we're not reaching for technology because we have a lack of willpower, but because we have a deficiency. I think what really resonated with me about this concept is that all the time when I'm reaching for my phone is the time that I feel most depleted. It's like the time where I am looking to be easily entertained, and I'm not necessarily looking for things that are beautiful and good and true. And the more I thought about this, the more I really wanted to change that and to be approaching technology not from a place of depletion, but where I was already filling up my tank with ideas and just things that were really life-giving to me, so that when I pick up my phone, I'm not coming at it in such a depleted state, if that makes sense.
Here's one of the books I found in the little library that I was really excited about.
Also, like after a retreat, I'm always so inspired, and there's like a ton of things I want to do and read, especially like after a Charlotte Mason retreat. So I really try to think through what that could look like and how I could categorize that in a way that wasn't overwhelming to my brain, but also that gave me like a good goal and a challenge of things that I really want to prioritize and do. And this is what I came up with.
I also found these picture books to add to our collection.
I first made a list of all of the things that I wanted to accomplish or that I felt like were life-giving to me. I made a list of the books that have been sitting on my nightstand for a really long time that needed some attention, and I kind of started to categorize them in this like SPICE category. So S being spiritual, P being physical, I being intellectual, C being creative, and E being like emotionally restorative or connective. That helped me really organize my thoughts better. Started calling it my analog basket because I keep everything in this basket here, and these are the things that I have included. In the spiritual section, I selected 5 books that I want to read from, and every day I just pick one of these up. I don't necessarily say, okay, Monday is always this book or Tuesday that book. I just have it all in a grid, and then each day I check off when I read one of them. So the first book that I have is this book called The Bible Simplified. This is one that was sent to me that I have found really interesting, and I just knew that I wasn't taking the time to intentionally read through it. But doing it as a part of like my analog time has been really helpful because I'm not necessarily finishing a whole chapter. I'm just sitting down and spending some intentional time reading through this. And I've really enjoyed it so far. I'm about 2 chapters in, so not super far. The next one is Streams in the Desert. And you're probably familiar with this devotional. It's been around for a really long time. You can see on the inside here that each day has a little scripture and sometimes like a story or a poem. And I have really enjoyed picking this up through the years. I've had a copy of Streams in the Desert for probably 20 years now, and it's something that I reference often. Next is The Cloud of Witness. I got this at the Charlotte Mason retreat that I was at, and it has been reprinted. It is basically just following the Christian seasons. Ooh, this is getting pretty bent up. And it has a little devotion. Each week has a different topic. And then again, it has like some scripture, quotes, some little readings, poems, that sort of thing. The next book is Scale How Meditations by Charlotte Mason, going through the book of John. I have really enjoyed this one so far as well. This is a more challenging read, so depending on the day, I just pick up what I feel fit for. And the last one is this really beautiful copy of the Psalms that my family got me for just a little gift. I'll show you the inside. It has some beautiful photography and then just the psalm next to it. And what I've been doing is, as I'm reading this, when I'm done reading through the psalm, I also just Google the psalm on Spotify. Just search it, I guess, not Googling because you're on Spotify, and we'll listen to any songs that have been made from the psalm, or some of the more like dramatic readings or things that are available on Spotify for each of the psalms. And you'd be surprised, there's actually quite a few. Every day I feel like there's been at least 2 or 3 songs and audio for me to listen to. Next, in the physical category, it's pretty simple. 3 days a week I want to exercise, and I'm really focusing on strength training. I've been doing the Nourish, Move, Love videos, or have been doing like some rebounder exercises on our trampoline. And then opposite of that, I have meal planning and deep cleaning or organizing, and they aren't like physical in the same way that exercise is, but I didn't really know what category to put that in, and so that's where that went. In the intellectual category, for me, I really see this as things that are furthering my education as a homeschool mom, and specifically Charlotte Mason. So on there 2 days a week, I have reading from one of her volumes. My husband and I are going through volume 1 right now and trying to read about 10 pages twice a week, which feels like a lot, but I think because I've read it and understand like her concepts so much this time going through it, it's been really enjoyable and pretty quick and fast. I also have The Inspired Homeschool. This is a book by Jennifer Pepito that just came out. Again, this is one that I knew was going to sit on my nightstand unless I was really intentional to read it, and I've really been enjoying this one as well so far. Again, I'm only a couple chapters in because I'm not necessarily reading a whole chapter each time I sit down. I just try to keep it short so that I'm getting a little bit that I can take with me and think through, but I'm not like feeling the pressure to constantly like finish a whole chapter. Then I have this book of poetry. I got this thrifting. It's called The Home Book of Verse for Young Folk, and it has a ton of our favorite poets that we've done for school, and this is just something I can pick up and read a few poems. For the 5th day, I have wanting to read Parents Review or PNAU article. Right now I'm kind of reading something adjacent to that. It's called Parents Are Peacemakers. I got this from Nancy Kelly over at Sage Parnassus, and I will link that information in the description. But just reading through some of those old articles, a lot of them you can find at Charlotte Mason Poetry, and a lot of them are also on audio, and I love audio, so that's been really helpful as I've been reading through a lot more of those. For C, in the creative category, I have sewing 1 day a week, and then 1 day a week I have painting or sewing. I have been really trying to be intentional about going through my folk painting course. This is from a company called You Can Folk It. And this is what it is. It's a video course. I've really enjoyed going through this. Let me show you if I can show you some of the pages that you work through. But I also have been going off script from this workbook and just doing a lot of folk painting on my own. So I'm trying to finish the course and like really be intentional about that. So I have folk painting on there, sewing or painting. I have nature journaling. I'm really trying to be better about this as a habit for myself, not just for my children, where I'm able to, as I'm going on nature walks with them, more organically just work in my own nature journal, try to be better at keeping a journal in that way. And then also I was given this watercolor book from Emily Lex Studio at Christmas, and I've really been enjoying this as well. So if I don't have time to necessarily nature journal or folk paint, I at least can probably do one of these, or I don't know, just something kind of in that realm. I definitely, as you can see, like these are kind of time consuming things, so I for sure have to plan my day and set aside time to do it. But so far I've been able to squeeze these things into the margin, and it's been very, very life-giving. Last but not least, I have the emotional kind of connection restorative section, and I didn't really know what to call this, but I felt like the E was right for the acronym S.P.I.C.E. and just helped me like think through and categorize the things I wanted to do. So one of them is to have a date night with my husband. One of them is to read some fiction. Right now I am reading Betsy from the Betsy Tacy series. This is book number 8, I think, Betsy in the Great World. This also has Betsy's wedding in it, so I'm hoping to read those two back to back. And then connection, like just a night where I am being intentional to connect with friends, whether that's calling a friend, texting, reaching out, getting together, whatever that looks like. And then I also have work for my business, Little House, and batch cooking or batch content, so kind of whatever I need for the week, whether that's just making like all of my reels and posts for the week, or whether that is cooking a bunch of food, prepping food ahead of time. Both of those practices I have found to be super helpful, and they make the week go a lot smoother, and so I just put them in that category. Again, I didn't really know where to put some of these remaining things, but to me, to my brain, it made sense to go in that final category. Other things that I keep in my analog basket, I keep the running list that I have for the week so that I can check off and just kind of see what I've done so far. If I know it's going to be a busier week, I might like read a couple more books, but I try to get it all done. I also don't hold myself to too like strict of a standard. If I'm not like finishing every single thing, that's okay. It's more so just about being intentional and really battle this deficit of beauty and thoughts and ideas and creativity and like, I don't know, doing life-giving practices to me so that I'm not coming to my phone looking to be entertained, looking to fill up like that creative space, or looking to fill up the intellectual space, or all these things, but I'm really being intentional with my time. And then I also usually have our book club book of the month, because this reading is on top of the reading that I'm just doing for my normal life. And then I also have my headphones, because sometimes I'm able to listen to my like parents review article while I'm painting or sewing. It depends, but sometimes I can listen to that sort of thing and just really get into like a flow state where it's itching both sides of my brain and feels very satisfying. One thing that probably goes without saying, but I feel like is important to mention, is that it really depends on what season of life you're in. There are definitely seasons where I would not have been able to do something like this because of the ages of my children, but now my kids are older, and even, you know, it might change as we get into the school year, and I find that this is like too much. I might condense it, or I don't know, find another way to think through being intentional with my time and my mother's education. But for now, this has been really life-giving, and I hope it just sparks some ideas for you. I know I always really enjoy seeing what other women are doing to cultivate their own habits and practices. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.